this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me today. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demo here in the UK. And this is another one in my series of card making for beginners. A very simple stamping project today, just with 2 layer cards. So it's just done stamping on the white and then mounted onto a coloured card blank. But the interesting thing about today's project is it is what's called a one sheet wonder. And what that means is that you take a sheet of either plain paper and stamp it, or a sheet of already patterned paper, printed patterned paper, and you cut it up to create several cards. So today I have stamped a sheet of A4 basic white cardstock and then cut it up to make these 4 cards. It's a very quick way of making a whole stack of cards, and as you see, you can use whatever messages you like on the cards, and it makes quite a pretty project, and it would actually make quite a nice gift to package these all together to give to somebody. So I'm just going to show you how to do the one sheet wonder. I'm going to show you how I stamped my sheet of A4 cardstock and how to put the cards together. So let's start with a sheet of Whisper White, and I'm going to change up the colours a little bit. So on this one I use So Saffron, Highland Heather, Balmy Blue, Blushing Bride and Pear Pizzazz. I'm going to just change, I'm going to use similar colours, Pear Pizzazz for the green, and then I'm going to use Blushing Bride, So Saffron and Highland Heather, but I'm also going to bring in Coastal Cabana, and that's going to be my feature colour. So I'm going to do the big flowers in Coastal Cabana. So what I'm going to do, just move that out of the way, is I'm going to set my stamps up. So this is Coastal Cabana, so that's going to be the big flower and the centre of that flower. And then on Pastel Pink and Blushing Bride rather, I'm going to do the I don't know what to call it, this sort of spray, little spray of flowers there. So that's going to be in Blushing Bride. The second biggest flower, which is this one, is still going to be in So Saffron. And then the little flower that fills in a lot of these places is going to be Highland Heather. So I've got all of those lined up like this with the right stamps on the right stamp pads, and I'm going to hope that I'm going to put the right stamp back on the right stamp pad as I stamp. Have been known to put the stamps back on the wrong stamp pads, but we will see as we go. I do this because I find it easier to build up the pattern rather than stamp all of one flower and then stamp all of the other. But you can do it that way if you want. So I'm going to begin by stamping a couple of the big flowers. So I've got a piece of paper here, just a piece of scrap paper here, that I'm going to stamp off because I might not want this at full strength. I'm going to see what colour this comes out. And what we're going to do basically is we're going to stamp in a kind of rounded cross in the middle here, so that when we come to put the cards together, so this would have been there, so this would have been part of the cross there. So we're going to leave some gaps in the corners for our sentiments. The joy of doing this is you don't have to be too precise. It can't go wrong. You can stamp wherever you like, really, basically. So let's take this. Now I'm just going to stamp on my scrap piece. See how, yeah, that's quite dark, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to stamp off and then I'm going to use it like so. And then I might do a lighter one as well, a little bit further away. So I might do 2 colours of this. So that's that. And then I'm going to bring in my So Saffron, stamping in full strength with this one. I'm going to stamp there. And you just build up your picture, just gradually. So I'm going to go back to my big one now, stamp off and do one down here and one across here. Yeah, and then come back with the So Saffron and do that, and then I'm going to bring in the Highland Heather, and again I'm going to stamp this off a little bit so it's not too dark. So we've got a different colour scheme going on here to what we had before, but you can of course choose your own colour scheme. So we're building that up quite nicely. I'm going to move over here and do some over here. So I'm going to go back to the big flower. There are other sets in the catalogue that this will work quite well with. We've got the In Bloom stamp set. We've also got Blossoms in Bloom, which is in the annual catalogue. So you've got several choices here. I'm going to do one more there. So you've got to try and imagine that you're going to be cutting this into quarters. You could cut it into more actually, you don't just have to cut it into quarters, but I am just going to cut this into quarters. But if you wanted to, you could cut into more bits and make more cards. Right, okay, let's put that one back in the right place. Go back to the So Saffron. Do a few of those. Maybe one over here. And down here. And then I'm going to go back to the Highland Heather and fill in a lot of the spaces with the little Highland Heather stamp set. It doesn't matter if you get two together. Of course, you can bring in more colours if you wanted to, or less colours if you wanted to. There are no hard and fast rules here. It's just a really quick way of building up a stamping pattern. Ready to make some cards. Right, okay, what am I going to do now? I'm going to go back to the big stamp, stamp off. Oh, that was on an edge. I'm going to stamp again, just be careful. Turn that over, I think. There we go. And I'm going to stamp along here. And then another one up there. And actually, I'm going to stamp another one over here. I'm going to fill these up a bit. Any more? Maybe not at the moment. And then, oh, I haven't done any of the little blossoms, have I? Let's do some of those, these ones. So I'm going to do the stems first, actually, and I think that'll be easier to mount the little yellow blobs over, the little pink blobs rather, over afterwards. So that's quite easy to line up there. So we'll do a couple more of them. Just looking, I didn't stamp that one very well up there, so I might try and go over it. That might ruin it. Always a risk when you try and re-stamp something. Let's do one down here. I'll put that in the wrong stamp pad. I knew I was going to do that. Let's hope it doesn't matter too much. Better to put the green in the pink than put the pink in the green. Just need to have your wits about you if you're going to do it this way. You can, of course, do it like I said. You could do all the pink and then all the green, but you have to you need to have a big vision of what's going to be, or how it's going to look at the end. I am going to do a couple of greens here though, just to fill in some space, like so. And you can see we've got this sort of pattern with a space here ready to put our sentiments in. But this, you can see, this is really quick to do, really quick to fill up. And then you've got the materials for making at least 4 beautiful cards in very little time, and actually with very little resources, very few resources. If you haven't already bought the Pretty Perennials, be available in my shop. You can go down and click on my shop, but it's one of the stamp sets that I absolutely love and would recommend to beginners, not beginners, everyone. I think it's lovely. I love it. Right, okay, I'm going to do a few Highland Heather. A few more Highland Heather. This little flower stamp is great for just filling in a few spaces. And then I'm just going to do some leaves. Oh no, I'm going to do the centres of the flowers first. I'm going to take the centre, which actually I can't look at without thinking it looks like a coronavirus. And just stamp in the centre of all the Coastal Cabana flowers. And that just brings them to light. I know why that isn't stamping properly. It's because I was on my label there. That's why that hasn't stamped quite well up there. So I am just going to go back over that flower. Try and line it up carefully. Oh, not bad. A bit darker because it's too stamped now, but that's better. Right, okay, a few leaves, I think. So I've got a big leaf here. So we'll do a few of them, and I'm going to do some stamped and some stamped off. So where am I going to put it first? Might do one up here, and then we might do one over here. I don't know where to put it there. Stamped off, and again one stamped in full. I'll put that there, and one stamped. I haven't actually left myself a lot of room to do leaves actually. And then maybe one down here. I'm going to just put my piece of paper underneath because I don't want it to ruin my grid paper. And then one going off there. Some of this will be cut off because this is slightly too big to fit our card blanks. And then I'm just going to go with the little leaves as well. 2 little leaves on here. So just fill in some of the white spaces. You can leave white spaces. You don't need to be very careful about having white spaces. I don't think it looks bad, but if you want to fill them in, just gradually. I always find it easier to work from the biggest stamps down to the smallest ones. And this will just fill in any of the spaces that you think shouldn't be white anymore. Don't know, I think it might be enough. Just in case that's going to show up there. Right, okay, so we've got our sheet. This is going to be our one sheet wonder. So I'm just going to close all of my stamps pads because that's all we need now. So can you see how this could be used to make some quick set of cards? So you could actually do 2 sheets of this, cut it all up, 8 card blanks, and you'd have 8 beautiful cards. And it's not tricky because the stamping is so easy, and it doesn't matter if you do it a little bit differently to me because it's quite a random abstract pattern anyway. Right, okay, so what we're now going to do is we're going to cut this up into 4 sections. So I'm going to take my trimmer, and first of all I'm going to cut it exactly in half and then half the other way. So I'm going to cut it in half this way, which is 14.8 centimetres. Then I'm going to cut it in half here, which is 10.5 centimetres. And these are the panels for our cards now. But then we need to trim them down a little bit because they will be too big. Now I've cut some bases here. In fact, I've cut I've got a balmy blue one here, and I forgot that I'd substituted Coastal Cabana, so I'm just going to change that one over, see if I can find a Coastal Cabana card blank. Let's see if I've got one in here. I have a whole box of my spares. So this is where I'm looking. Let me show you. Can you see that? I keep all my spares for each colour family. I haven't got a card base in there, so I'm going to have to grab a new piece of cardstock from my stash. Here it is. And so my card bases, this is not a bad thing because I can show you how I made them. Card bases are 14.5 and then scored at 10.5. So those are our card bases. So that's one. This one is already cut to size, so I just need to score. This is Highland Heather, another of the colours. So I'm just using the colours that we used in the stamping. That's So Saffron. And then I've got one in Purple Posy, which is like a lighter shade of Highland Heather. So that will coordinate quite well. So there's my 4 card blanks. And then they just need to be the fold needs to be smoothed out with the bone folder. There we go. It's a beautiful day here in the UK today, and I'm stuck here in my craft room making videos. I don't mind. I quite like making videos, but I was quite tempted earlier on to think that we could go out today. But as we're still locked down, there's not far we can go anyway. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mount these panels, but like I said, we need to cut them down a little bit. So it's just a case of deciding which bit you want to cut off. So we need to cut these down to 14. So I can either cut there and that will cut that off, or I can cut at the bottom. Do I want to cut off more of there? Yeah, I think I do, because I don't want to cut that leaf off at the top there. So I'm going to cut off this panel, and then at the side we need to cut it down to 10.5. So I'm actually going to cut to 10, sorry, not to 10.5. I'm going to cut it down a little bit here. Just want to cut that little bit off there, but then I might cut down the other side down to 10. And each of them just need to be cut down like that. So just your judgment. So this one, it's quite easy to see that that needs to be cut there. Just cut off that bit. There's no real stamping on that bit, so that's easy. And then what should we do? Should we do it this way? Let's see what it looks like this way. I'm going to cut through my purple flower, but that's okay. There. That's that one. And then this one, I'm going to cut a little bit off here actually. Yeah, I'm going to cut it off there, just because I've got a lot of bits of flowers there, so that might tidy that up a little bit. And then I think cut off section here. There we go. And the last one. And these panels can go any way up on your cards. They can go vertically or horizontally. Up to you where you want to put your sentiments, and it's up to you what sentiments you want to use. I've made 2 thank you cards using thanks from Ornate Thanks. I quite like that thanks. That's a nice bold one. And then I've done a thinking of you. So I've used, this is the stamp set that I used the thanks from. And then I've also used Get Well Soon and Thinking of You. Is it Thinking of You from here? And these are cards. I need a lot of Get Well Soon cards at the minute, because a lot of people that I know have had COVID just recently, and I've been sending out loads of Get Well cards and little treat packages. So I need I need to re-stash my stash, really, restock it. So I'm going to do the same with these cards. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to mount them onto the card blanks first. And I realise I haven't got any Tombow out, so let me just get some Tombow. Again, you could use any kind of adhesive to do this. I'm using Tombow, but you could use tapes, double-sided tape, or whatever is your favourite. A tape runner. You can use whatever is your favourite. Tombow is always my go-to glue, unless it's a specific project that I need to use something else for. Quite often use Seal for 3D projects, but as you know, that's not a frequent occurrence for me, doing 3D projects. I'm a cards girl, really. There we are, that's one panel mounted. I'm going to do this one onto Highland Heather. Quite a nice contrast, and you can see how doing the different coloured card blanks highlights different colours in the pattern that we've stamped. So it's quite an easy. You could do them all. You could do all your card blanks one colour. You just need 2 sheets of A4 of one colour, so you don't need to use different ones. I just thought it looked quite nice to use different colours, and as I've got all the different colours, I thought I would use them, but it's not necessary to do a project like this. I do try to limit the amount of product you need when I'm doing my card making for beginners projects, because I know that not everyone has a craft room stacked to the gunnels like mine. Right, this one I'm going to do this way up. So those two I've done as if I'm going to do the greetings that way. I guess it could be that way as well. They're at the board. I would have done them the other way up, I think. This one I'm going to do at the bottom, so like that. So it'll be a tent fold card rather than a portrait fold. Like that. And then the last one is going on to Purple Posy, which you can see coordinates really nicely with the Highland Heather that's been stamped off. And so this one is going down the bottom as well, like so. So this will be tent fold as well. And then I think I'm going to do the same as I did on my other cards, but obviously it's up to you. Whatever sentiments you've got in your stash will be fine. If you're not confident about stamping onto the stamped panel, because you're not confident about stamping straight or smudging or whatever, you could always stamp onto a piece of cardstock and punch it out with something and then mount it. I'm going to be brave today, but famous last words, that'll probably end in disaster. So right, okay, so what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to do a thanks. No, I'm not. I'm going to do get well soon on this one. So that'll mean I'll have 2 more get well soon cards going back into my stash ready. Hopefully I won't need them soon, but like I said, I've needed a lot of get well soon cards recently, which has been quite a shame. There we go, get well soon. Lovely. And then I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do Thinking of You, and I'm going to use Highland Heather again for this. And these cards are Thinking of You ones I send to my mum quite a lot. I try and send her a little package once a week. She's in a care home. I haven't been able to see her since September. So I send her a little package once a week, and you always include a handmade card. And so Thinking of You is just quite a nice message to put on them. And then these two are going to have thanks on them, and I'm going to do it in Coastal Cabana. Now, some of these card blanks are quite dark, so you might want to put a panel inside as well. So just cut your panel the same size as the cards, the panel that we put on the front. So that was 10 centimetres by 14. And then just glue it inside. And if you wanted to do a little bit of stamping on it, of course, it makes it nice. There we go. And the last one, I'm going to do this way up and put thanks there. And these thanks cards will be winging their ways to some of my customers quite soon, because I'm just about ready to do my customer thank yous for everyone who ordered from me in February. So we've got 2 sets of cards. We've got this set of cards. You can see, I don't know how long this video has been going. I might be able to see actually. No, I can't see the clock on there. But this hasn't been, it can't have been more than 20 minutes, I don't think, to make those 4 cards. Those are the ones we did today, and then the 4 that I did before. I wonder if you've got a favourite colour. I seem to be in a pastels phase at the moment. Usually I like using brights, but just recently I've been using an awful lot of these pastel combinations. I don't know what's come over me. Anyway, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this card making for beginners series. If you are a beginner, or even if you're not, but if you have any questions about card making, something not quite going right for you, please get in touch. I'll be really happy to help you. And I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching, and it's bye from me. Bye.